A lot of people think MDMA, MD is just,
Yeah.
it's a party drug, right?
Yeah.
Harmless fun.
Yeah, that's the common perception.
Non-addictive, no real damage to your brain, just something to make a night better. But what if that's just fundamentally wrong? Dangerously wrong, even.
That's what the science is increasingly showing us.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into why this substance, MDMA, moly, ecstasy, whatever you call it, why it's setting off some serious alarm bells. Our goal here is to look past the flashing lights and the music and really understand the science. What's it actually doing inside your brain?
Yeah, the neurochemistry of it.
And why does it create such a strong psychological pull? And, crucially, what are the long-term consequences? Because this seems surprisingly destructive.
They really are, and often underestimated.
This isn't about judging anyone. It's about understanding why this substance, which seems to be kind of trending right now, is a major concern.
Absolutely. Knowledge is key here.
So let's start right at the beginning. For anyone who might not know, beyond the street names, what exactly is MDMA?
Okay. Well, the full chemical name is methylenedioxymethamphetamine.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, which, explains the nicknames moly or ecstasy. It's essentially a psychoactive drug. Pretty common now in social scenes, nightlife.
And there's a huge draw to it, isn't there? What makes it so appealing? What do people say it feels like?
That's a really important point, because the appeal is tied directly to the risk. What users report very consistently is this profound sense of empathy.
Empathy.
Yeah, and connection. Like deep feelings of kinship, really strong social bonds, enhanced feelings of love, even heightened sexuality sometimes.
Okay.
People often describe it as feeling like one soul united in the party. It creates this incredibly powerful, positive social feeling in the moment.
Which sounds amazing, I get that. But that leads us to something pretty concerning we found in our sources. This isn't just occasional use anymore, is it? There's a trend.
Yeah, there definitely is. We're seeing MDMA use really picking up steam, especially among people in their 20s and 30s. That seems to be the core group.
Okay.
But what's maybe even more worrying is it's extending now. We're seeing it more in people in their later 30s, even into their 40s.
And why is that particularly concerning the older age group?
Well, their metabolism is different. Their body's ability to process the drug and recover from its effects isn't the same as when you're, say, 22. The risk profile changes and potentially gets steeper.
And this isn't just a mild concern. The research we looked at is, frankly, quite stark.
It is. The core message, really, from the scientific community is pretty blunt. MD destroys neurons, period.
Period. Full stop.
Yeah. It's not really seen as a point for debate in the research. The damage is a direct consequence.
Okay, but I can almost hear people thinking, hang on, aren't other drugs worse? Opioids, smoking, vaping, heavy synthetics? And fair enough, those things are incredibly dangerous.
Absolutely. They carry huge risks and different kinds of challenges, no question.
But we need to bring the focus back to MDMA for a second because it has its own unique challenge, one that's often misunderstood, right?
Precisely. And this is where it gets interesting. MDMA might not be physically addictive in the same way as, say, opioids, where you get severe physical withdrawal sickness.
Right.
But it creates a really powerful psychological dependence. And that distinction is critical.
Why critical?
Because people don't get those intense physical withdrawal symptoms, so they often think, oh, it's fine, it's not addictive, it's harmless, or at least, less harmful. But that psychological grip can be just as strong, maybe even sneakier.
So how would someone recognize that, this psychological dependency? Maybe in themselves or someone they know? What are the signs?
Well, you might ask yourself honestly, as the weekend gets closer, do you start feeling this, low-level anxiety? A need to consume again?
Okay.
Or does the idea of going out, say, to a party with friends, does it feel kind of flat, like a void almost, if you know you won't be taking MDMA? Those feelings are big red flags.
That makes sense.
There's this analogy sometimes used, like an endless caress. Imagine a really pleasurable sensation. You just don't want to stop.
Yeah.
When it ends, you won't be physically sick like with heroin withdrawal, but you will intensely miss that feeling, that deep euphoria, that connection. You crave it.
So it's the absence of the high, the longing for it.
Exactly. That deep yearning for the experience to come back. That's the psychological hook. It starts to feel like your normal, everyday self just isn't quite good enough anymore.
Okay, let's dig into the why. What's happening chemically in the brain? What's MDMA actually doing to create these feelings and then this longing?
Right. So MDMA basically acts like a chemical master key in the brain. It forces nerve cells to release a huge, uncontrolled flood of key neurotransmitters into the space between them, the synapse.
Which neurotransmitters are we talking about?
Primarily three big ones,
Okay.
serotonin, dopamine, and noradrenaline. And then it also blocks their reuptake, so they hang around in that space for longer than they should.
And these are often called the happiness hormones, right? They regulate mood, pleasure, energy.
That's right. They're absolutely central to feelings of joy, empathy, social bonding, energy levels, alertness, all those things people seek from the drug.
But here's the catch, and this seems really, really important from our research. These chemicals, they aren't infinite.
Exactly. That is the critical point. Your brain has finite deposits of serotonin, dopamine, and noradrenaline. It makes them, stores them, uses them, recycles them, but it's a regulated system.
You can't just keep draining the account without consequences.
Precisely. You cannot exploit these deposits uncontrollably, forcing these massive releases weekend after weekend and expect them to just magically refill or never run out. The system isn't designed for that kind of repeated, intense pressure.
So the million-dollar question then is, what happens when these deposits start running low, or worse, when they're seriously depleted?
And that's where we see the really alarming long-term damage starting to emerge.
And age plays a role here again.
It does. It's a concern for younger users, say in their 20s, but the sources suggest the consequences are even more severe, potentially irreversible, for those using into their 30s and 40s.
Why irreversible?
Because their metabolic capacity, their brain's ability to repair and regenerate those neurotransmitter systems, just isn't as robust. Our sources were very clear on this point, stating for that older group, they won't recover their original baseline levels.
Wow, that's incredibly sobering. They won't recover. It makes you think about how seemingly small choices add up. And we're not just talking about feeling a bit low after a party. The consequences are much broader, right? A whole spectrum of issues.
Oh, absolutely. It can be really far-reaching. Things like chronic insomnia become common, irritability disorders, like people finding themselves suddenly having explosive anger, getting into arguments easily.
Like out of character.
Yeah, increased aggression, more conflicts.
Yeah.
Maybe in the street, with partners. We see potentially healthy relationships turning quite toxic or pathological.
And there was this really disturbing point in the source material about people only feeling right when they're using.
Yes, this phenomenon where individuals start to feel that they're only truly healthy or truly themselves when they're actually under the influence of MDMA, usually at a party.
As if their baseline self is gone.
It's as if their natural capacity for joy, connection, even just feeling normal, becomes completely dependent on having the drug in their system. It's a very dangerous place to be.
And how does this actually destroy the brain, as the source put it? It's not just neurotransmitters, is it?
No, it's deeper than that. It also seemed to involve energy resources at the cellular level. MDMA forces the brain to burn through mitochondrial energy, the cell's powerhouses.
Energy that was meant for other things.
Exactly. Energy that your body earmarks for vital functions like repairing neurons, maintaining the immune system, keeping the liver healthy, general cellular repair.
So you're diverting resources from essential maintenance.
Precisely. And that diversion doesn't just stress the brain, it accelerates aging processes throughout the body. It impacts everything because you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, essentially, at a cellular level.
So the party drug is actually aging you faster and weakening your body's repair systems.
That seems to be a significant part of the long-term picture.
And you mentioned losing the ability to perceive happiness.
Yeah, that's a crucial point. Prolonged use appears to fundamentally subtract the capacity to perceive if you are happy or not in normal life, outside of the drug experience.
So the natural highs, the simple joys, they just don't register anymore.
They become muted or inaccessible. Your brain's baseline for what constitutes happy gets artificially reset by the drug, and everyday life struggles to measure up.
And this isn't just a brain issue, right? You mentioned other organs.
Correct. The chemical effect is described as multiple. It impacts all organs because your body has to process this substance.
The cleanup crew.
Exactly. Your liver, your kidneys. They have to work overtime to depurate, to break down, recycle, and get rid of the drug and its byproducts. That puts a huge strain on the entire system, not just the brain. It's a full body assault, chemically speaking.
Okay, this paints a very serious picture. But what about help? If someone is in this cycle, or if you're worried about someone, what can be done? The sources mention therapeutic use, but cautiously.
Very cautiously. Yes, MDMA is being researched and sometimes used as an auxiliary therapy for PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
But that's under strict medical control.
Extremely strict. Controlled doses, therapeutic setting, trained professionals. It is absolutely not a DIY path to well-being. And critically, it requires the patient to have a healthy metabolic base to even be considered. A strong underlying physiology.
So not for someone already depleted by regular use.
Generally, no. And the sources also mention other substances, like psilocybin microdosing or ayahuasca. But again, these are also potent substances. They're still drugs. They carry their own risks and also require that healthy metabolic base to avoid causing more problems. None of these are casual solutions.
Right. So for parents, friends, family worried about someone using MDMA, what's the first step? What does the source say is most important?
Dialogue. Simple as that. Open, honest, non-judgmental dialogue is highlighted as the #1 tool.
The starting point.
Yes, it's the entry door, the way to potentially help someone start thinking, maybe this isn't the best way for me. It might be tough, might be uncomfortable, but opening that channel for conversation is absolutely crucial. It's about connection, not confrontation.
But it's not all doom and gloom. There is hope, right? There are ways to feel good, connected, happy without resorting to this.
Oh, absolutely. There are many healthy, natural ways to support your brain chemistry and overall well-being.
Like what, for instance?
Well, things like specific amino acid precursors, certain vitamins and minerals that support neurotransmitter production, plant-based adaptogens that help your body cope with stress. There are natural supplements and lifestyle choices that can genuinely help you feel happier, more resilient, and enhance enjoyment in life and social settings.
And these work with your body, not against it.
Exactly. They support and nourish your natural systems, help build up those precious neurotransmitter deposits rather than draining them dry.
Which brings us back to that core message of responsibility.
It does. Ultimately, you have to take care of your brain's natural chemistry. Those deposits of serotonin, dopamine, noradrenaline, they need to last you your entire life.
For everything.
For your perception of happiness, your ability to form bonds, your motivation, your mental clarity, your resilience to stress, they are fundamental to your long-term well-being. You're basically managing your future happiness account with the choices you make today.
So, to recap, we've seen how MDMA, despite that initial allure, that feeling of connection, it systematically drains your brain's essential chemicals.
Leading to serious long-term damage, both psychologically and physically.
And ultimately, it actually reduces your capacity to feel genuine happiness in everyday life. It can make your natural self feel incomplete.
Which really leaves us with a crucial question for you, the listener, to think about. What if you can't control it?
Meaning?
What if, despite telling yourself it's just for fun, you find yourself relying on it? Relying on this external chemical for your sense of self, your feeling of connection, your experience of joy. What does that mean for your future long after the party ends?
It's a profound thought. Imagine instead if we focused on nurturing our natural capacity for happiness from within.
What would that world look like? It's worth considering.
This deep dive is really a reminder of that delicate balance inside us and how our choices impact it. We really hope this information reaches people and helps contribute, even in a small way, to a healthier society.
Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you for joining us on the deep dive.